Hello, EverQuest here on the Sage channel. That's Sleep, Art, Game, and Eat. And today I'm doing a quick intro into EverQuest Next Landmark, and basically what you'll do on your first day or days in this game, and basically what there is in the alpha from a very quick look. So let me turn my UI back on using Alt F10, bit of a strange key, and this is basically what you'll see when you spawn in, something similar to this. And what you'll have in your hotbar, depending on what level you bought into the game, I bought at a pretty high level, but you'll definitely have at least a stone pickaxe and a stone axe. Now, if the area around you doesn't look so good and you think, well, I don't even want to explore this place, I believe what you can do is come up here, click on the big circle, or not circle, pardon, but thingamajig crystal, and select to go elsewhere. And so let's go here. And well, I'm partially engulfed in somebody else. But here we are indeed in a different land now, basically a different island. And one of the simple keys, M, will bring up your map. You can see, hey, what does this place look like? Oh, okay, so bit different than the last one. I know I didn't show it. By the way, the map, left-click to drag about, right-click to rotate, because it is actually a 3D map, and you can only build within this large square. Here, you cannot build, dig, mine, or anything else in any of this area. You can't actually reach it. This is an invisible wall keeping you from getting there. You can, of course, though, see different plots or claimed areas, and have a few graphical issues, too. Remember, this is early alpha. You're going to see some weirdness. You can also see players on your radar with those dots, and also you can see bits of resources. Now, the first thing you'll probably want to do once you find yourself in a world you're relatively happy with is run about, and actually my gear has disappeared. If I put on something different and take it back off again, there you go, you can see one of my founder things. But what you'll want to do is get far enough away from the spawn area that you can actually mine, and there you go, you have left the hub area, immediate area, dig away. So what do you want to dig? Well, not just nothing. You're going to want to basically start an upgrade loop, or not upgrade loop, but upgrade path, to being able to get better stuff, which will allow you to get better tools for building and all this stuff. So the first thing you're going to want to do is find some copper. And copper is pretty simple and straightforward. Unfortunately, it looks like I can't find any here. I'm going to run a bit till I find some. And while I'm looking about for copper, it's probably a good idea to talk about the controls. And MMO players will find them pretty familiar. Holding right click allows you to look around, sort of like most games. And then holding left click actually does the same thing if you don't have anything equipped. Though you can hold shift and run a bit faster, and when you jump, you'll do that nice little spin thing there. Or if you're not holding shift when you jump, you'll just do a nice little hop. Anyway, I just saw some copper. There it is. It's in the ground. So, you're going to want to select your pickaxe that you're going to have. It'll start out with a stone one if you don't have anything special, and start digging away. And it's pretty slow, a bit tedious, but you can see there in the bottom left there, it's telling me what I'm getting. I'm getting a bit of dirt, a bit of stone, elemental copper, very useful, all this stuff. And you just want to basically explore around the world and mine up a bunch of resources, as many as you can, really. And let's see, keep on going now. If you mine down usually under this stuff, and I'm going to switch over to my founder's pickaxe because it's a bit quicker, usually you'll be able to mine under this and find tin ore, and you're going to want to collect as much as you can if you can actually collect it with your pick. I'm pretty sure you won't be able to, though. You'll need to upgrade your pick first. And the way you do that, well, of course, is back at spawn area. So try not to run too far away from spawn when you're first starting out, because you're going to need to go back there unless you can find some crafting tables that other people have built. So here we go. We got some stuff. I'm not finding any tin down there, but I'm sure you could find some if you kept looking. There might be some behind this. I'm just going to move on to the next thing. You're also going to want to gather as much wood as you can. So you're going to need to take your axe, walk up to a tree, and begin hacking away at it. By the way you zoom in and out is using shift and mouse wheel. A bit different than most MMOs where you just use mouse wheel. You have to hold shift on this. Anyway, there you go. You can see as I'm swinging away, I'm getting bits of wood in the bottom left there. And, I don't know, not the quickest thing, but if you got the founder's thing, of course, you'll have your super pickaxe / axe all combined, and it cuts out through these pretty quickly. So I'm just going to do this that way you can see what happens when you kill a tree all the way down to zip, which is a bit strange to have a health bar on a tree, but just imagine it, you're cutting your way through it. So anyway, there we go, tree's dead, and it's just going to vanish here in a second, probably. One last swing. Oh, yep, there we go. So anyway, that's gone. Basically what you want to do now is just keep on exploring, keep on looking about, trying to find as much wood and copper / tin as you can, and then you're going to want to go back to either our starting base that we were at, or find a nice place like this with a furnace. Alright, so once you have a fair few supplies, it's time to upgrade. So you run back to your spawn point, and you'll find the furnace here, or actually I believe they call it a forge. So basically go up to it, left click, and go to pick. And this is the point where you can start upgrading and making better stuff. Now, a little issue you might have seen there is basically when you mouse over this thing on the left, it pops up, so you're often going to have to click and drag. Move this away from that if you don't want it interfering. Anyway, now we can basically go from our stone pick to a copper pick if we mine up enough stuff. Now, of course, this is requiring plain wood, just bits of wood. Elemental copper, which you get from mining up copper, it's just a random drop. You'll get the elemental kind instead of just normal copper. And then copper bars, or ingots as they call them. To smelt that, you simply scroll down here until you get to the different types of stuff. And it's 100 basically copper ore to make a single bar, which might seem like a lot, but as we were mining, you might have noticed we're getting a fair few per chunk that we cut up, because of course it's a voxel-based world, and the voxels are actually very, very small. Anyway, here you go. I got some other stuff that you wouldn't be able to have yet. Maybe tin, I believe, because it's tier 1 stuff, but there's a lot of other stuff that, not so much. Anyway, you got your stuff. Basically now you can go ahead and make your pickaxe, go out there and start mining better and better stuff, and this is basically what you keep doing. Now it's around this point I would actually suggest, or at the same point when you're building that, you'd want to go ahead and make yourself a stone forge, basically one of these of your very own. And basically you do that by collecting up your copper stuff and bit of stone and basically crafting here. And it takes a second to build it, and voila, you'd have your stone forge. And at that point, you'd probably want to go ahead and settle your own little base somewhere. Now I'm actually going to cut ahead to my base, basically, and go over the basics of base setup and progression from that point onwards. Alrighty, so here we go at my base, or actually my claim as it's called, and basically, now that you got your forge, you're going to want your own area to work in. So, on your hotbar, or actually in your inventory, by pressing I, you'll probably see a flag in here. Not this flag, it's just a trailblazer thing. You'll have a special claim flag. And it won't be in here, by the way, where your ores are just stored. So you'll want to take that, put it on your hotbar, press the corresponding button, and it'll probably open up your map for you at this point. Now, you'll have the highlight invalid claim. Basically now when you're trying to place, there'll be a big red area around basically any of these other claim areas, basically saying you cannot claim that. You'll want to find a spot that isn't highlighted in red, go over there or at least near there, click down your flag and plop it down. And basically when I say plop it down, it'll open this up as I said, and you'll basically have one of these big rectangular selection areas, and you can line it up wherever you like, up and down mountains. I believe you can use scroll wheel actually at that point, and it'll actually raise it in and out of the ground, possibly, or maybe it's holding shift. Anyway, find where you want it, click, it places it, and then when you're in here, in normal mode, you'll be able to actually see it, your building area here. Once you've got that, this little 3 here thing becomes useful to actually mine into stuff. I'll go demonstrate that down here. And here we go. At the very bottom of my claim, I've actually gone and put some grass down here. I wanted to have a green grove, but I can't plant trees currently in the game, so that's out. But anyway, you can see this cube is being moved around. It's currently free floating, and if I was to click with it, it fills in the whole area it's set up with. I can also press G to turn on a grid so I can more easily build certain things. You might notice that the left here, those numbers are actually going down as I click, a fair bit going down. But if I was to hold control and remove these blocks now, you can see them going back up. So you're not going to use up your supplies by building or anything, or at least not permanently use them up when you build something and remove it, I mean. Now, I'll explain this. Here we go at the bottom. We have our prefabs. I haven't saved any of those or really worked with them, but that's basically your templates. If you build something, you can save it so you can reuse it easily. We got our shapes, so you can have, build with a circular shape or whatever you please. So if I want to put a big circular thing of rock in there, well, I can. A bit strange. Let's say I want to cut a little opening or so in there. Ooh, that looks ugly the way that's deforming, but it's not meant to be perfect, and it's early alpha. So, you can do stuff like that. You can have all sorts of different shapes. You can scale all these, by the way. Not sure I said that. You can actually scale all this stuff using the mouse wheel. That's how I'm scaling this up and down. Nice, quick, simple, easy. Now, let's go back to square, because I'm rather fond of square, and look at this here. And this is actually where you can select the different materials you want to build it with, like iron. You can actually build with iron, silver, all sorts of stuff. And actually, ironware has a whole bunch of choices of different stuff you can build it with. You can use different types of wood here, set up all that nice stuff, or go into your stone. I'm not clicking on any of this, by the way. I'm just mousing over it. That's why it sometimes changes so easily, because I accidentally mouse over it. And I like to work with basically different types of stone. And you can see here some of these are, well, extremely unfinished. They just have this, unidentified nonsense here. But I like to work with stone, and they have a whole assortment of different stones. So you got this stone here that's like this, or you can maybe, I don't know, do I like that? I don't know. Well, let's go to this stone here that looks a bit different. So you got all sorts of different stone you can plop in and work around with, and you can cut in the stuff in all sorts of different ways, if you please, to make interesting designs and shapes and all that stuff, and it really looks like a silly face. Anyway, let's head back upstairs and basically talk about what you probably want to do before you do too much building like this. Alright, so we're back up here in my area, and you can see it's a pretty nice area, right? You know, basically all you'd have at this point is probably a flat area you've cleared, or at least a little flat area for your forge, and you'd be looking in here saying, okay, what do I do now? Building with these squares, as cool as they are, you know, if you want to build a really thin wall, this will take all month, all those little tiny clicks. That's insane. You're right, that is absolutely insane, and it took me a while to actually figure out that there's more to that. And the way you'll get there is actually through the progression of pickaxes. So, you got your basic pickaxes here, basically the ones you have currently. And you're gonna, oh, those are just axes, pardon. You're gonna want to carry on upgrades. So you've got your copper one, right, that we talked about building last. Well, now you're gonna want to build your bronze one. Your bronze one's actually gonna use up your copper one, but look at this. There's some other stuff here. You're gonna have to make sure you go out into the world and basically do a whole lot of mining, cutting down trees to get the burled wood planks, and actually those are planks, so that's even harder, and just the wood planks. Now, of course, you're not getting wood planks from trees. This is where, if you scroll down here, you're actually going to have to take the time to build, ooh, not there yet, crafting stations, there we go, this copper reinforced table here. And to do that, basically gather up these materials, build it, and you place it the same way you place these things, which actually is pretty simple if I haven't showed you already. Placing stuff is really simple. I've just right-clicked to pick that up, take it from your inventory, wherever it is, put it on your hotbar, press 5 or whatever button it's on, and voila, I can use my mouse wheel to rotate stuff around. I can do a tab to change whatever direction I want to rotate it. That way, if I want to be really, really silly, I could even maybe put it on the ceiling. I don't know why you'd want to do that, or not exactly on the ceiling, but you know, you can rotate it all over the place. A bit strange. I prefer keeping myself somewhat reasonable. And there we go. And of course, you can do Shift Tab. You can scale it down to have a little baby furnace, or you know, keep it as a nice, decent-sized furnace, or even a huge one, which is kind of ridiculous. Let's not do that. Let's keep it about the basic size. And then this is just movement tools if you want to have more precise movement. See, now my middle mouse is making it go up and down. Anyway, here we go. I think I like it there. Just left click, voila, it's placed. And so now that, well, you would have gone into here after placing it, building, and doing everything I just talked about, you would have gone and built your, this thing here, the copper reinforced saw table, and that's this thing. And you place it the same exact way. And once you're in here, you go to your wood, and it's basically like refining ores. You basically go here, you say, oh, okay, I need X amount of wood to build a proper wood plank, and just go through and make all that. And basically you just keep going back and forth between the two as you keep leveling up. So now you'll be able to, once you got that stuff cut up, and that takes an awful lot of wood, and also you're going to need tin ingots and all that stuff. Again, smelted the same way you did with the copper ores way earlier. Basically just keep going back and forth until you get your bronze pickaxe. And then what do you want to do with that? Well, you're going to want to continue to upgrade and get more stuff. Now, along the way, the reason you're doing this is because you want to build, right? Well, if you scroll all the way down to building tools, some of this stuff here is pretty simple and straightforward. Well, maybe not that, but deletion tools, you're just going to need dirt for that. Healing tool, dirt for that. Add tool, dirt for that. This is stuff you could build earlier, but there's not much point, I find, in any of them except for the add tool, which you already have and you can use control to delete with. What's really useful is the selection tool. That's why you want to keep on upgrading, because for this you're going to need iron ingots. I can't remember exactly. I believe it's probably, let's see, let's go back up to our pickaxes now. I believe this is, what is this? What tier are you, dear pickaxe? But at some point you should be able to mine, yes, iron ingots, and that's probably at this point with the bronze. So you're going to be able to start mining iron, and iron actually in the world I'm in at least is pretty plentiful. Now that you got iron, you can either upgrade to the iron pickaxe and keep mining different stuff and keep upgrading, because that's actually where I am right now, where my best pickaxe is actually iron one, and it's better than my founder one by a fair few miles. But basically the reason you're doing this is that way you can get the selection tool. And the selection tool is super duper useful. So really quickly, let me clean out this old hat that I don't really need. Where's it gone? I'm just dragging those off my hotbar. I could delete them by clicking and dragging them into there, because I know I'm not going to need a stone axe or anything like that, because I have better stuff already. And then I'm basically just going to say, here we go, here we go, here we go. The selection tool, and basically your tools all show up in your inventory. Just click and drag them down to your hotbar as usual. And now that you got your selection tool, you see the little selection area there. click and drag, and voila, I've selected this whole area here. Now let's say I don't like this sort of stone setup I have. I can move this around, by the way. Nice and simple, and you can do the, actually no, you can't. I thought you could do the shift tab to change tools, but not really. But here we go. Let's say we don't like that there. Let's say we don't want stone there at all. Let's say we want some wood. Let's say we want some that stuff. Now we're going to press 3 to select our placement, our add tool. Left click on this. Actually, it should just replace it. Ah, I don't have enough logs. Very, very silly of me. But, you know, you get the drift. You can replace it with different stuff. Let's see. Let's just do grass for now. Nice, simple, hideous, and stupid to have it here, but voila, there you go. Now you got a bunch of grass there. And it's really, really simple and useful. That's how I basically made these relatively thin walls around the whole thing, the ceiling, and all this stuff. From this point on, you're basically just going to continue upgrading your pick to build stuff, and also, of course, because you're not just going to want to have empty walls, you're going to want to have chandeliers like that there. You'll do that by going into here once you have the proper materials and make this trim workbench, which is pretty actually straightforward, but I don't know, I say save it until later, unless you really, really want to start building, you know, cutesy stuff to hang and whatnot. Maybe cutesy is the wrong word. Nice stuff. Anyway, at this point, basically, you would build the tin trimmed workbench, which is this one, place it just like the others, and from here, its main things are accessories like these, which will give you small bonus to things, stone work, you know, smoothing out this sort of stuff, which I actually don't have any marble because it's like from a tier 3 world that you'd have to tele to, or all sorts of nice looking random stuff, which a lot of it, as you can see, needs iron, which is one of the reasons I say just hold off until you get some more supplies really to spread about. This thing over here is also later down the line, actually probably much later, and it is a sifter, and you can see here it takes silver ingots, jute, which you get from cutting down plants, by the way. You'll actually get some other random stuff when you cut down trees, and plain wood planks, which are nice and simple. And this thing actually allows you to get random bits of ore from, let's say if you have a ton of extra dirt, let's say I had a bunch of extra dirt, I could just use, or actually sand in this case, 3,000 dirt, it'll convert it into a small bag, basically. And from the bag, it'll show up in my inventory, I can right-click it, and it'll probably give me like 3 copper or whatever. Not the most useful stuff. But anyway, this has just been a basic overlook at this. Hopefully it helps you guys out if you decide to look into this game and play it, and hopefully it's entertaining enough. Which one of these was I using? I think I was using granite floor tiles, so there we go. Nice and quick, repaired the nonsense, and of course whenever you remove stuff, even with that, it puts it back into your inventory, so I got all that dirt back. Nice and simple. One last thing before I go, you are actually able to go down here at the bottom left and click on the little flag thing, and then you can change, you know, whatever you like here. So I've said, you know, some little bits of nonsense tags. I don't believe those are working yet, but that's designed so that if you press M, get in here, you should be able to search for different things, but currently those filters aren't working, so you're not able to just see ones that have certain tags. Anyway, thanks a bunch for watching, guys. Hope this was entertaining enough. And if you're worried about my space engineer stuff, don't worry, it's not going anyway. I just, well, I was missing proper worlds with gravity, basically. I missed having proper gravity and being able to build in the mountains. Anyway, thanks a bunch for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.